Hey guys, what's going on? It's Rekt Capital and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day today. Let's dive into the update where we're going to be focusing on two separate questions. First one, focusing on Bitcoin. Is there more downside ahead? And the second topic that we're going to be talking about, we're going to do a quick fire update on a few altcoins, specifically large caps, Ethereum, Cardano, as well as the altcoin market cap, but also Litecoin and Dash as well. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's dive into the video and focus on Bitcoin first. Bitcoin has a multi-week higher low forming in the process. It's been approximately 3 weeks that we've seen Bitcoin springboard each time from this higher low, whether that's in a new uptrend or in a relief rally, but also whether that's in a rebound altogether. The most recent one, in fact. And now we're going for a third major test. So this is test number 1, test number 2, and test number 3 coming up soon, because recently I posted this on Twitter, in fact, that this resistance area was going to be the most important one when it comes to dictating the lower high that I spoke about in the previous video. We need to see whether there's a lower high. This being the first high, and this one maybe is that lower high that we were talking about. Really important to see that this was a strong rejection from this resistance area. Previously turned into a support, this time a clean rejection from here, and we have these two resistance areas ahead. So if we see a rebound from this higher low, we'll probably see a revisit into this area, and if we can't break that here, then that could provide some weight and a lot of sell side pressure right back onto this higher low. So really important to watch out for this higher low, but also on these resistances, should we gain any strength on this recent rebound. But above all else, that's the most important thing. So I'm just going to simplify this higher low for you, because that's the thing to watch at this time. And it is a 26% retrace, 12 days in the making, and there are lots of symmetrical things about the previous retrace. So this is the January minus 31% retrace period, but it wasn't minus 31% when it held on to this higher low. So we saw a dip below that higher low, but still maintained this higher low for a pretty long time, a few weeks. So price was able to dip 28% while still maintaining this higher low. Very similar to how price was dipping now, minus 26%, right over here, right? But still maintaining that higher low. Lots of symmetry here. Price being able to dip minus 26 to 28% while maintaining the higher low. And this right over here, this higher low, had a first major test, a second major test, and this being the third major test, where we saw a breakdown towards the downside to get that minus 31% retrace altogether. But the symmetry doesn't end there, because we saw 13 days worth of higher lowing right over here before we saw that crash. So that first major test, that second major test, and the third major test, the third major test coming on the 13th day of this overall higher low, and then breaking down into that minus 31% retrace. And now we're seeing 12 days of higher lowing. This first major test, second major test, and now the third one coming up very soon. So lots of symmetry, not only in the higher lows, not only in the percentage depth that we're seeing a pullback happen, but also in the time that these higher lows were able to maintain themselves before eventually ultimately breaking down. But it isn't a given that we're going to see a breakdown from here. I just want to highlight to you guys that once we do see a breakdown from here, because this is a bull market, we're probably going to see a crash upon breaking down from this higher low. There's no doubt about it. We're going to see a crash, but remember that this crash was only a means to an end to shake you out of your position and instill enough fear in your mind for you to be shaken out, for you to offload your Bitcoin position. And then ultimately we started to see a higher low over here and then new all-time highs weeks later. So just really important that should we even get a breakdown from this higher low, it would only be a temporary shakeout, a bear trap for investors, enough to just instill fear, uncertainty, and doubt into the minds of investors for them to be motivated and propelled out of fear to just panic sell their Bitcoin before the next uptrend occurs. That's one of the major things I want to just let you guys think about going into the weekend, because a crash from that high low wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing in the overall context of the bull market, because this is still a healthy bull market, and a crash from that high low would only be something to distract you and potentially shake you out. But when it comes to altcoins, let's talk about altcoins very quickly here before we wrap up. Altcoin number one, large cap number one, Ethereum is retesting its previous resistance area into a new support, and you can see that here is a higher low, here is a higher low, here is a higher low. We're seeing a series of higher lows happen in Ethereum, so people are happy to buy the dip here, happy to buy the dip here, and happy to buy the dip here at ever increasing prices after each pullback. And if that isn't a great evidence of strong buy side pressure, I don't know what is. So really cool to see this buy side pressure increasing over time with each pullback. Successful holding here of this previous resistance area into a new support will enable Ethereum to once again rebound and try to challenge for new all-time highs. Very important breakout, pullback, and now retest of a previous area of resistance into one of support. Really interesting time for Ethereum, and Cardano is mimicking the same price action, as you guys know from my previous video. U-shaped macro reversal, and now we recently rejected from the final wicking resistance, but we've broken this candle resistance, right? This is the candle top, and this is the wick top. We rejected from the wick top, but we are actually potentially claiming the candle top as a new support. You can see that this wick is very much searching for that support test, but at the same time we have a lower high diagonal here that's holding quite nicely as well in the meantime. So Ethereum, just like Cardano, Ethereum holding its previous all-time highs as a support, Cardano as well holding its previous all-time highs as a support, altcoin market cap holding the previous 2017 highs as a support. Remember, if we're seeing some sort of faking out below these 2017 highs, just like we're seeing right here, remember that back in this period, late 2016, we also saw a period of temporary faking out before we actually saw a 27,000% increase in altcoin market cap over the course of the year that followed. More than a year, in fact. So this temporary faking out, I wouldn't be too alarmed. Nothing out of the ordinary at the moment. And speaking of nothing being out of the ordinary at the moment, when it comes to Litecoin's price action, since late 2020, we've seen 4 retraces in Litecoin's price action, and each of these retraces have been minus 39, minus 31, minus 39, and now minus 39% as well. So a minus 30 to 40% correction for Litecoin's price action in a bull market is normal behavior, and we're seeing that this is still very much in line with historical tendencies, and this is the current price action for Litecoin. We know that Litecoin has retraced around 36 to 39% depending on which exchange you're looking at, but this is of course normal price action in the grander scheme of things of a overall bull market. You can see that minus 30 to 40% shouldn't alarm you, because that is what tends to happen in bull markets. And at the moment, we're already seeing a market structure develop for Litecoin. This wedging structure, and really important to watch out for these trigger points, essentially. This being the trigger point for a bullish reversal, and this being the trigger point for a bearish trend continuation. But overall, theoretically, we could retrace all the way to even as low as the 150 level, or even mid 145 region, and then rebound towards the upside and still maintain this bullish momentum after the retrace to still hold this market structure. So these are the trigger points for Litecoin. This is the overall market structure, nothing to worry about until we have clarity on which direction Litecoin will start to take. But at the moment, Nothing else to report on Litecoin, in the same way that there's not much to say about Dash. Dash has recently broken out from an 800-day accumulation range, parabola accumulation range, and the last time we saw a parabola accumulation range give way into a new uptrend, Dash saw two new all-time highs of 1,600. So we've broken out from this macro accumulation range right now, broken out towards the upside, a bit of resistance at this blue level of 275 roughly speaking, but we're claiming the top of this macro accumulation range as we speak. So the retest is in the process. A successful retest will enable for a challenge of this blue resistance once again, in which case I don't think this resistance will hold again. So I'm just watching for this retest attempt, really important retest attempt, to be successful, because that would ultimately precede further upside continuation for Dash. And having said that, guys, wishing you a fantastic weekend ahead. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, of course, and like the video if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more videos like this in the future. I'm Rekt Capital, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Speak to you soon.